Gary DeWall here, and this is Bridging the Week for April 27th to May 1st, and today is May 4th, 2015. Good morning. Spoofing was again big news in the financial services industry last week as two non-members were summarily barred without a hearing from trading on any CME Group exchange for 60 days for engaging in alleged disruptive trading activities. Separately, another regulator gave warnings and recommendations about cybersecurity threats, and FIA Global added its views and recommendations to the crescendoing debate on clearinghouse risk. Last week concluded with International Workers' Day or Labor Day throughout much of Europe, but there did not seem to be much of a slowdown in financial services news in most of the world. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. Two traders were summarily barred last week from trading without a hearing on any CME Group exchange for 60 days because of their alleged spoofing activities on the Commodity Exchange Inc. from March 1st through April 28, 2015. According to the CME Group, during the relevant time, both Nassim Salim and Heet Kara engaged in a quote-unquote pattern activity involving gold and silver futures contracts without an intent to trade. Neither Mr. Salim nor Mr. Kara is a member of COMEX. Typically, alleged the CME Group, both individuals would place multiple orders or layered orders on one side of the market to help effectuate an execution of a small order on the opposite side of the market. Once the small order was filled, the opposite side orders were canceled. CME Group also charged that on occasion, Mr. Salim and Mr. Kara coordinated their activities. CME Group has the authority to summarily suspend members or non-members from access to all CME Group exchanges, quote, upon a good faith determination that there are substantial reasons to believe that such immediate action is necessary to protect the best interests of the exchange, end of quote. This is a powerful tool. Read more about it on the article versions of Bridging the Week. Check it out. A United States federal court in New York dismissed a purported class action complaint filed by Harold Lanier, an individual trader, that argued that defendant stock exchanges violated their market data contracts with him under state law. Mr. Lanier claimed this breach occurred when the defendants made market data available to some customers more quickly than to other customers, as the court noted was also one of the principal allegations of Michael Lewis in his 2014 non-fiction book, Flash Boys, A Wall Street Revolt. The court ruled, however, that Mr. Lanier's claims were preempted by federal law and that his charges must first be heard by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Speaking of the SEC, its Division of Investment Management has issued guidance to registered investment companies and advisors regarding cybersecurity. The guidance recommends three prongs. Investment companies and advisors should periodically assess the type, sensitivity, and location of data they oversee at any time, internal and external cybersecurity threats, already implemented protective measures, the repercussions of a breach, and the governance structure related to cybersecurity risks, implement written policy and procedures to avoid, detect, and respond to cybersecurity breaches, and ensure appropriate training to employees and education to clients. Finally, the division notes that one size does not fit all, and that, quote, because funds and advisors are varied in their operations, they should tailor their compliance programs based on the nature and scope of their business, end of quote. I have a lot more to say about cybersecurity in the article version of Bridging the Week. Check it out also. The Senior Supervisors Group, an organization of staff of bank regulatory authorities from 10 countries and the European Union, has published a report with its observations of the material risks of algorithmic trading and how banks can mitigate such risk, as well as questions both firms and regulators should be asking to better mitigate such risk going forward. According to the report, the key risks of algorithmic trading are that small risks can be amplified throughout markets causing sizable impacts, including large losses. Algorithmic traders may have significant intraday risk, quote, without transparency or robust controls, end of quote, and internal controls may be lagging, increasing speeds and market complexity. The report argues for implementation of effective governance, testing of all phases of an algorithm's life cycle, and meaningful involvement of control functions. The SEC also proposed rules last week that, if adopted, would require non-U.S. persons to include security-based swaps arranged by their U.S. personnel or agents to be included in their calculation of total security-based swaps that, if they exceed a certain threshold, would require such entities to register as a securities-based swap dealer. However, under the proposed rules, mandatory clearing or execution requirements would not be imposed on security-based swaps between two non-U.S. persons solely because one or both counterparties used U.S. personnel or agents to arrange such swap transactions. Comments on the proposed rule will be accepted by the SEC for 60 days after its publication in the Federal Register. And finally, FCStone, a Commodity Futures Trading Commission registered futures commission merchant, agreed to pay a fine of $140,000 US for allegedly not having adequate procedures to address the transfer of positions between customer accounts and for training its personnel when such transfers might be authorized. According to the CFTC, in May 2013, FCStone transferred gold and silver positions from the personnel to corporate accounts of a precious metal supplier located in the United Arab Emirates. FCStone made this transfer, claimed the Commission, because the two accounts were controlled by the same person and had the same large trader number. FCStone was charged by the CFTC with failure to supervise. Well, that's it for this week's edition of Bridging the Week. As always, there is more information in each article and more articles on the article version of Bridging the Week on the website, including this week a special article entitled "The FCM Business is Not All Doom and Gloom," reports Tab Brew. Check it out. Until next week, this is Gary DeWall. Have a great week, and as always, ciao!